Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Christ, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Woe to us. Woe to us who have been created for peace, but who live angry, violent lives that kill children playing on streets and kill unborn children only just becoming. We confess that we daily dress up our fears like anger to do the unexplainable, instead of shattering all violence with your mercy and awesome grace. Woe to us for shooting our wounded instead of wounding our own pride and binding up the wounded with grace. Woe to us who have too often fallen into perfectionism and Phariseeism and judgmentalism, privatism and hyper-individualism and materialism and triumphalism. We have held ourselves to a standard of perfection instead of falling into the only thing that can ever hold any of us: your arms of mercy, your arms of grace. Forgive us. Forgive us our full plates while in just 3.5 seconds another human being stopped breathing because he or she died of an empty plate. Forgive us for the 1 billion human beings who have lived every one of their breathing days in the wild, suffering, poverty. Oh, woe to us who who care more about our image to others and keeping up with the Joneses, turning our faith into a sham, a fake, a fraud. Forgive us for living apathetically at a time when there are more slaves in the world today than ever before in human history, and less than 1 in 100 of them will ever be rescued. When so much of our clothing, our chocolate, our coffee, our smartphones are made by slave labor. For caring more about how much money we put into our wallets than what it's costing the souls of other human beings. Forgive us for our systemic racism, where more African Americans are in jail right now than were in jail in apartheid South Africa, and where an African American male is given 20 to 50 times longer prison terms than a white male for the exact same drug crime. Forgive us for priding ourselves more in what we see in our mirrors than what you, God, see in our hearts. Forgive us for spending $11 billion last year on facelifts, Botox injections, and unnecessary aesthetic, cosmetic augmentation when the same amount of money would obliterate illiteracy in 5 years. Where the same amount of money would solve the world's water and sanitation problems. Oh, forgive us, God, for caring more about our faces than facing your face. Forgive us as a church for lavish buildings instead of lavish love, for offensive arrogance instead of offensive grace, for shaming people instead of enabling them, for wanting to climb ladders to be somebody's instead of climbing low to help somebody. Forgive us for being so ready to point out the sins of our culture instead of seeing the sins of us. Forgive us for giving more time to Facebook than we give our face to your book, for more closely following our social media streams than thirsting for living waters and following your way of life. Forgive us for wanting callings that are bigger, more grandiose than our character, and for feeding fears that are bigger than our faith. Forgive us for being so ready to point out the sins of our culture instead of those sins that plague our souls. For not begging you, God, to make our humility bigger than our platforms. For thinking, oh God, that we could ever acclaim you, our King, and be silent about your kingdom. Forgive us for carrying around coffee cups and not carrying our cross and pouring out our lives. Forgive us for wanting a work seen by others instead of a kingdom work seen by you. And for wanting to be the greatest of all and not wanting to be the greatest servant of all. And for wanting to be first in everything instead of returning to our first love. Forgive us for having hearts that are idol makers instead of making you the Lord of our hearts. Forgive us. Forgive us for stealing all your glory, for photobombing all of your frames with this insertion of our selfie selves, for thinking almost incessantly about ourselves instead of being relentlessly focused on you and thinking of ourselves less. Forgive us for vandalizing grace, for our sarcastic cynicism, for trashing hope with pessimism, for suiting up in our armor of negativity, all because we are not brave enough to believe and surrender to the courage of vulnerability. Forgive us for opportunities lost, dragging feet, dabbling in distraction, for playing in procrastination, for not being people of action, for loitering about in little and trite ways when there's a cosmic battle to be fought and an eternal race to be run and a feast the starving are hungry to find. Forgive us for not wanting to pay any price, have any cost, take any risk. Forgive us for not loving the marginalized when you told us that it's in the margins that you write the greatest words. Forgive us for loving our agendas instead of interrupting our agendas because we love you. Forgive us who have loved you so little because we have loved ourselves so much. If you have told us that if we humble ourselves and pray and return our hearts to you, you would deliver us out. And if we seek your face and turn our face to your cross, then you could deliver us out. then you could heal our world with your cross and grace and mend our broken hearts. Then, in the nearness of our union, in our face-to-face communion, souls are seen, and our fears and our tears are touched. Our shortcomings are caught in this falling into his cross-shaped, burning love for us. If we let our hurting places fall into his redeeming love, if we let the wounded healer bind our wounds, take our unspoken brokenness and give us his unconditional wholeness, let the scent of his relentless love wake us to more. If we hear and answer and open, he comes in. He comes in and he feasts with us, with all of us. Then we will rise again. Out of the dark, we will rise with him. It can rise up. Resurrection can rise if if